Okay. Um, I'm not absolutely certain, but I believe it's working now. Uh, so we'll see if some people hop on and let me know that they can hear me and see me, and then I will be gravy. So first, let me, of course, let the group know. Whoever just hopped in, let me know if you can see me and hear me. Just want to make sure this is working. There's a little bit of hey, Tony Torres, welcome. Can you hear me okay, Tony? Awesome. Okay, just letting the group know again. Come on. So, yep. Oh, the group's at 948 members. Hey, Nestor, good to see you in here. How's everything going? Uh, okay. You know what? I am making it a point to change up that background. I cannot stand it. Change YouTube background. All right, we'll do that. Okay, so hope everybody's doing good today. Um, Again, it's been a pretty quick week. I've been a lot busier in this week than I was before, and so that of course makes time go by faster. But I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to what the next couple weeks will bring, what the couple next month will bring, and what the next few years will bring. So, with that in mind, I don't actually have any questions that were prepared for today. So, I'm just going to make up some questions right now and answer them. Um, so, let's see. What question can I make up right now? Um, uh, Yeah, I'll ask myself this: How have what are the differences Um, yeah, Tony asked, can you touch base on the onboarding process? When you say onboarding process, do you mean like when you onboard a new client that you sign up? And then, of course, I'm asking myself, what are the differences between U.S. agents and international agents? Now, as per this live, the main goal of this live is to prioritize the questions that are happening, while I'm live. So I'm going to answer Tony's question first, and then if nothing else comes in, I'll answer my own question second. So Tony confirmed that he's asking about the onboarding process for a client. Okay, so if you are bringing in a client in the virtual receptionist space, okay, um, and you're following the business model that I follow or utilize with Vicky Virtual, then what you're doing is you're getting them configured so that you can serve them, right? So typically, in order to get to that point, and I do cover this in full in my course. So if you're interested in the course in general, guys, excuse me, sorry. Um, I fully cover every aspect of onboarding in the course. But anyway, first you have to get them to sign up and then submit the details that enable you to have the information you need to serve your clients well. Now, I provide an onboarding form. I provide an onboarding form example in the course. Every single time I do these, I'm always yawning. I apologize because I don't actually feel that tired. Um, we provide an onboarding form in the course, but if you want to sort of like deal somebody's onboarding form, then fake sign up for some other company. And usually after the sign up page, you'll see an onboarding form, so you can just rip the question from there. And then you'll just have to create your own form. But so once you have the information submitted, um, what you're doing is you're taking that information and you're getting them configured in the system. Whatever phone system you're using, the configuration is going to work a certain way. Once the configuration is done, right, you're sending out a welcome email to your new client. And so your new client will get a welcome email that says, "Hey, welcome. These are policies and procedures. We're very excited to have you. Uh, if they're on a trial, explain when the trial starts. If they have a number that you've assigned to them for them to forward a call to, tell them what their assigned number is, and basically just say that you're ready. And then when they start forwarding call to, that's when you're starting to serve them. And then after trial's over, we charge them the first month if they want to move forward. So pretty simple overall. Obviously, there's some more step to it in terms of actually configuring a client and stuff, but obviously the configuration process is different depending on what tools you're using to run your business. Hey, Peter, Miami, bienvenidos. Welcome, buddy. Good to see you on here. Peter, you didn't email me, so I'm assuming you might have a few questions here and there. Um, Happy to answer them. Man, I love Miami. I just realized I definitely want to go back. I was there in like August, I think, or even September. Yeah, September for my brother-in-law's birthday. So I was there last month, less than a month ago, and I want to go back. um, but welcome. Hey, Tony and Nestor, where you guys at? And Tony, I hope that answers your question, by the way. And of course, Peter, since you're here, feel free to ask whatever questions you have. Seems like you already have one. Are there any features that you feel are lacking in 5.9? Yes. I'm gonna. Oh, Tony's in Tampa. Nice. So a couple Floridian. Nestor, where you at, man? Um, are there any features that you feel are lacking in 5.9? So the answer to that is yes. Um, in terms of the virtual receptionist capacity, oh, Nestor, we talked before. Mexico City, Ciudad de Mexico. That is a fantastic city, one of the largest cities on the planet, and I believe still the largest city in North America. So, sorry, in the Americas, so North or South America. So very cool place. Um, I'm gonna be sort of ridiculous and starting to say certain phrases in Spanish because I just started taking some Spanish tutoring. So, don't mind me, okay? Uh, I don't know any Spanish yet. I'm not a Spanish speaker, but a year from now, I might do a whole live call in Spanish, okay? So, that's what I'm excited about being able to do. Um, uh, okay, so any features that you feel lacking in 5.9? Um, as far as 5.9 is concerned, for the virtual receptionist business model, it works very well. Um, it covers all the bases you need, and it does it in a really good way. Um, because the main thing that you're focused on in a virtual receptionist company is the phone, right? You're not too focused on chat, or you're not doing email. You're not really doing anything outside of phone and sometimes live chat. Now, there are a few, and I do mean a very small few, companies out there that do a better job in terms of omni-channel. Okay, and by omni-channel, I mean multiple different channels. Doesn't even have to necessarily include phone, but omni-channel communication generally in the customer service or sales or whatever capacity. So that could be live chat, it could be email correspondence, it could be SMS like texting. Now, 5.9 does have these features, um, but it's not as easy as it could be. And I've recently for my for one of my new call centers, which is not a virtual receptionist company, but it is a call center. It's more omni-channel focused, and so we're going to be using a different software actually for it called Gladly. Now, if I were doing a virtual receptionist company, then Five9 is still a good thing, and I have a Five9 account. So what it's missing is that omni-channel sort of being optimized for omni-channel. Now, again, in terms of virtual receptionists and what we need, one of the other things in my course, and honestly, I'm going to start talking about my course a bit more often. Um, One thing that is covered in the course is a questionnaire where I cover all of the different questions that need to be asked of a phone vendor when you're considering using, some type of phone software. And so um, that questionnaire is sort of based off of the things that I learned when I was using Five9, and then I tried to switch away from Five9, and I didn't realize uh, some of the features that were lacking in other systems that Five9 had, and I had taken for granted. One of the most important things about Five9 is that it keep track of something called handle time. Handle time being talk time, the amount of time you talk on the phone with someone. Uh, and in addition to that talk time, the amount of time that an agent spends in after call work, which is the amount of time they spend before they sort of close out the call with a disposition, which is a category of call, and then are ready for the next call. So talk time plus after call work, combine that into one metric, and it's called handle time. Now, a lot of different systems don't actually use or have handle time as a metric. And there's actually one system that we use for a bit called Ring Central that has a handle time metric that didn't calculate, like, they don't calculate it the same way Five9 does. And I didn't realize that until I think 9 months into using Ring Central, and it was a big deal. And I don't even want to I think around the time I was able to calculate the amount of money that I lost because we were undercharging as a result. But I don't want to. I don't want to think about it because I've forgotten now. I've gotten over it. My scars are healed, and I have no more PTSD about it. But there was a lot of money left on the table. We tried to save a little bit of money in, in the short term, and that ended up being the single most expensive decision that we ever made in the business. So you want to get it right when it comes to the phone system. It might feel like you're getting ahead or getting the edge by cheaping out on it, but you can't cheap out on the phone system, and because it's the lifeblood of your business. That and your people. Um, you know, when you hire over, like if you want to, have an edge when it comes to hiring your people, then hire outside of the US or outside of the expensive market you might be in if you're in a Western market. You can get high quality people as long as you're paying well for that market. So, if you're paying $12 an hour to someone in Africa, in most places in Africa, you're going to get an absolutely stellar person. In the US, you're just not going to get a great person because, I mean, you can get some good people, especially some younger people that, I don't know. There's some good people. Just about everybody at Vicky Virtual started at $10 an hour. At a certain point, we hired a bunch of good people, some really sharp people. But you're going to be literally getting like accountants and doctor caliber people in certain countries if you're paying $10 to $12 an hour. It's a fact, and it is what it is. Okay. Nestor asked, can I share my uh, opinion on VC dial phone systems? So I don't think I've heard of it. Maybe I have, but it's definitely been too long and I don't remember it. So I'm taking a quick look to see if it piqued my memory. Okay. Well, let's see. It's got a pretty bad website. Wait, let me make sure. Open source contact. Oh yeah, you don't want to use an open source contact center thing because what happens is that you have to have a programmer to help you install things. You don't want to deal with that if you like. You asked me this question and being on here, you know, getting advice from me mean you shouldn't be using VC dial because that's something that is it's way too advanced. If you like were a if you were someone that was like a developer focused on teleservices or the telecommunications industry, and you were the type of person that had the ability to install like a database on location, set up the hardware, connect it to all the computers, and then utilize a phone system solution, then you might be the type of person that should use something like VC Dial. And in that regard, I don't even know if it's good, but it's an extremely technical system. I wouldn't be able to install it myself. I'm telling you that right now. So I don't recommend it. Okay, Tony asked, I've been trying to connect VAs with clients in the real estate and insurance broker industry. I've come up with a short list of VAs in the Philippines and US, but I'm still trying to find the best way to get clients for them. Any tips? Nectar, no problem, man. Um, all right, when you say VAs, you mean virtual assistant, correct? Because, even though I have had a virtual assistant company, in my course I don't talk about the virtual assistant business. I talk about the virtual receptionist business. So virtual assistants are task based, like perform a task based, and that's the way they provide services. Whereas a virtual receptionist is phone based. You focus on the phone, and not that. It's a different business. Um, So with that in mind, I'll still answer your question. Again, Tony said, I've been trying to connect virtual assistant with clients in the real estate and insurance broker industry. I've come up with a short list of virtual assistants in the Philippines and US, but I'm still trying to find the best way to get clients for them. Well, one thing about the real estate and insurance broker industry is that they're both pretty cheap. Those prospects are cheap. Brokers, even when they make a lot of money, they are somehow like they don't want to spend money, and a lot of them don't realize. Like, there's not it sounds like I'm talking crap about the broker industry, but I'm really not. Um, a lot of real estate brokers aren't business people. They're just sort of like independent salespeople that are trying to, sell houses and get commission, here and there. But the reality is that they're not a business. They don't become somewhat of a business person until they start an actual brokerage, whereas they have their own thing going on, and then they have a bunch of agents under them, and then they're like hiring a secretary or something. At that point, they recognize the value of spending money on the operations of their business. What happens with most realtors and to a certain extent insurance brokers is that the only money they're willing to spend up front is stuff that's literally directly related to trying to get that commission. So they might spend money on, marketing the house, the listing that they have. They might spend money on, someone doing cold calls to get leads, and even that's sort of real. But in terms of someone answering the phone in general and making operations easier for them, most of them don't recognize that that is a critical component of their business because they don't really treat their profession as a business. So I wouldn't, as an industry, necessarily go too hard in terms of realtor. The one good thing about it is that every client that you land, you get a pretty decent margin on. In the virtual receptionist industry, Vicky Virtual, we did about $300 per month on average per client. With a virtual assistant, you're probably at like 1,000 or more. Like Yeah, so that's that. Insurance brokers, I honestly don't know as much as I would like to know about insurance brokers, but I do know that oftentimes, again, they're individuals, not businesses. And when they're individuals, it's very difficult to get them to spend money because they don't actually really make that much money unless they're killing it and they have people under them. So it has sort of the same dynamic as a realtor, and insurance brokers don't make as much as realtors do. Um, so that's my take on that. If I'm looking to help people out in the virtual assistant space, I would look into other segments. Like there's a lot of marketers that need um, let me think. If I personally were doing this, um, I would look into more. I guess real estate is sort of white collar. It's something that attorneys definitely use. Honestly, cleaning company owners, I know that because I was in the industry. They use virtual assistants a lot to help run their company. Um, so local service businesses in general. Let's see. I said attorneys. Again, maybe financial services. So like excuse me, so like CPAs, they might want like somebody to do the bookkeeping. They might sell bookkeeping services and then hire a VA to do the actual bookkeeping since it's easy. The tax stuff they do themselves or have more skilled professionals for, but the bookkeeping they might hire for. Um, and then again, anyone in marketing, there's a lot of people in marketing. Marketers understand these things a lot better because the mindset's just different. You have to understand it a lot better, so it would be easier. So that's what I would do in that regard. Okay. Um, okay. Tony said I started using the phrase virtual attendant because we cater to sales agents and teams. I like it. It's just that you don't want to be in a position that you have to educate your prospect too much, right? So, you know, uh, I like it. I mean, technically, I like it. So as long as you don't straight up mean virtual receptionist when you say virtual attendant, then great. Half of the people that when I talk to them about Vicky Virtual, they're like, "Oh, so how good are your VAs?" They're not VAs. They're literally call center agents. But everybody muddles terminology badly in this industry, and it is what it is. Um, okay. So 5.9 API is an easy to work with website integration. 5.9 API is very good. It's they got great documentation, meaning it'll be easy for any developer to work with it. Uh, it has a lot of functionality. So, like, if you have this type of company going, you're using 5.9, it won't be hard for you to get like a customer portal together that utilizes some of the data that you're pulling out of 5.9, right? It's very good. That's the answer. Um, okay, Tony said, I'm a licensed insurance agent and trying to fix some of the problems the third party transfer agents have. Okay, so Tony, since you are a licensed insurance agent, excuse me, that actually changes my answer dramatically. Because you're inside of the industry, you get two things. One, you got credibility, and two, you have a much better understanding of the pain points. So if you can, drive a conversation centered around the pain point, what are your pain point? How was it solved by a virtual attendant, as you say? And how can one of your people do the exact same thing for fellow insurance agents and make their operations easier, but also make them some money somehow? That's the conversation you need to have. And I would just pitch based off of that. Hey, I'm a fellow insurance agent, and I had this problem, and I, started this company because it was so frustrating trying to find people consistently, and I know other people have the same problem. That's exactly how and why I started Vicky Virtual. I was in the cleaning business. I had an issue in the cleaning business. I knew other cleaning business owners had that issue, and so I started the company to serve a bunch of cleaning company owners. So, again, Tony, you can articulate that 1,000 times better than I can. If you have a website and you built it out with some good copy, focusing on the pain points and how you solve them, I'd love to see it at some point. Feel free to email it to me when it's done, and I can give you some more pointed tip that pertain specifically to how you're currently marketing to these people. In terms of where you can market to them, you can definitely focus on LinkedIn. Uh, the nature of being insurance agents as well as realtor is networking. Trying to network typically with white collar people. There's no better place to do that than either in person or on LinkedIn. There's also Alignable. I don't know how effective it is though in terms of people responding to you, but people actually respond on LinkedIn if you play the numbers. I would go on LinkedIn. I would use LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You won't be the first person to offer this type of service, but it also won't be off-putting for you to offer it. It'll make sense. It's just a matter of playing the numbers, getting the timing right, and getting your pitch down in terms of hitting those pain points and them knowing that you know what you're talking about as a fellow insurance agent. Okay. So Peter asked, I would like to offer phone numbers to my clients on the website. Example, how does Google Voice get all those numbers? How could you acquire numbers? How do you acquire numbers? Um, so Peter, you don't want to become a voice over IP, phone company. That's a software company, and I mean, you could. It's just a completely different business, but you don't want to do both, right? Actually, one of our early clients was a voiceover. It was called Cloud. What the heck was that company called? Uh, I can't remember, but it was a I experienced almost personally, but very close secondhand, somebody trying to build. Okay, so Peter says he doesn't want to be a voice over IP. So if you're just offering phone numbers, any phone system that you use, you can acquire phone numbers through that phone system, and then you can offer that a phone number. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's something that you offer anyway. If you're in the business and you have to get phone numbers for each specific client that you have. They're like unique to that client. You're doing that regardless. And so what happens is you say, hey, you can use this on your website and stuff, or you can forward your current phone number into our call center and we'll take the call based off of that. So they have the choice. We had clients that used the phone number we provided for them as their phone number. Sometimes it ended up being annoying though, because if we ever switched phone system providers and we didn't feel like porting everything over, then they would lose their phone number that they've been building a presence around. So I actually typically recommend Peter, if you have a Peter asked, how do you get your phone numbers? If you have a contact center software that you're using, you automatically can buy phone numbers directly through that. It's the easiest thing in the world. You literally just say phone, get phone number, and click a few times. 5 9, you just you email someone saying, hey, I need 10 phone numbers with these area codes, and then they get the phone number for you, and then they charge you, a certain amount of money per number. Depending on how many numbers you get, it's either like it'll go from $5 per number per month and work its way down to $1 per number per month. So it's really easy. One email and you get the numbers. Other systems are even easier than 5 9. You can do it directly in the software. So like I would never recommend TalkDesk, but TalkDesk, for instance, you can literally buy phone number. You don't even have to ask anyone. It takes you straight into a number search. You type in the area codes you want. It gives you like a list of 10 different ones you can choose from. Ring Central does this too. And then, if you don't like any of them, you press refresh and then you select the one you want, and then it's immediately in your account. So it's real easy. Okay. So Nectar said, I would like to offer a bilingual answering service to small companies that offer services such as construction. I see that some companies charge by the minute, while others by the day. Which is better? I would never charge by the day. I can't imagine that. Yeah, I can't even think of any companies that charge by the day. Now, what there are two that I've seen typically. Um, well, I guess there's three. One is by the minute. One is by like per call. We charge per call. And then three is we charge a flat monthly amount, like for unlimited minutes. Which if you never do that, because that's a great way to not ever be a good quality service, because inevitably you're going to have some people that take advantage and they're using way too much volume for how little they're paying. And okay, so anyway, so the only two to really consider are going to be charging by the minute or charging by the call. Uh, in terms of which is better, I don't know. I haven't done both. I've only done by the minute. I still prefer by the minute, but there's a decent amount of good sized companies. I think Jill's Office was one of them. They used to charge by the minute, and now they go by the call. And Jill's Office focuses a lot on the blue collar industry, such as construction. Now, Nectar, oh yeah, you're in Mexico City, so you want to offer bilingual. Just focus on states that have a lot of bilingual speakers. I'm eventually going to have bilingual people in one of my new call centers, and that's going to be important when we start to go after clients in California, Texas, and Florida. So there's definitely states in the U.S., particularly those three, that have a really good large volume of Spanish speakers. Chicago, like where I live, has a lot of Spanish speakers. Right, there's a lot of Mexicans and other Latin American and Hispanic people here. Um, and so I got the point is that it is necessary. There is a market for it. I don't know what's better. Um, the only thing I'll say is that per call is per call can sometimes be easier for certain mindset, especially probably in the construction space. Uh, basically, you can say something like, "Hey, listen, for every 6 calls you get, you book a job. So if we charge you $5 per call, it costs $30 per job to use us, right? That's very simple math for somebody like that, and they like math like that. They don't want fluctuation. They want to be able to predict what their profit margin is going to be, or the hit on their company is going to be if they use you, right? Now, if you say, "Oh, we charge per minute," they'll think about, well, how long is the average call? Well, what if I have one call at 40 minutes? Do I have to pay $40? Like, they start thinking about stuff like that. So what you do is, and I've seen it done, and it's sort of hilarious, but it's just psychology. Um, the average call could be 2 minutes, and let's say you're charging like 250 for 2 minutes, or so basically you're charging 250 per call effectively, like through your company, even at scale. If the average is 2 minutes and you typically charge around $2.50 per call, or you could just charge per call and you charge like $4. And on average, you're making $4 on 2 minutes instead of 250 on 2 minutes or $1.50 on 2 minutes. But because it's predictable and someone can say, "Oh, I had 100 calls, therefore I'm paying you $400," it's just a lot easier for people to understand, even though there's fluctuations in the number of calls. And whatever is easier for someone to understand psychologically, it's easier for them to consider and then become a client of yours. Um, and again, I would say that again, that's more so going to be in the blue collar space. In the white collar space, they tend to pay a bit more attention to exactly what's happening. So, I don't really, I really can't say one way or the other. Um, I really can't say one way or the other. With my new thing, I'm pretty much charging by the agent, which is like, okay, we have an agent to cost me $1,200. I'm charging 3 grand a month for them. And I look for client where the volume is based on a scale of number of full-time agents versus number of minutes, right? So it's like, oh, this client, we think they'll have about 3 or 4 agents worth of volume. And so it's just a lot easier. We don't even have to think about per call or per minute. We just think about, okay, well, what's their bandwidth going to look like? I know that an agent can handle a certain amount of minutes per month. if they're going to use 20,000 minutes or something, then that's the bandwidth of like 4 to 5 agents. So we'll charge them based off of us having 4 or 5 full-time agents for them, and that's another pretty simple way to do it. So yeah, definitely consider that. Next, to look into Jill's office. I know that they do it. I can't remember who else does it right now. But again, Jill's office is very popular in the blue collar business space, including construction and painting and other like contractors businesses. The 713. Again, I'm gonna plug my course because only reason I'm doing this is because I've had it surprises me, but I have, let's say every 2 or 3 calls, someone's like, "So where's your course? Like, what's the link? I didn't see it." So I'm typing it. If you're interested in purchasing the full A to Z solution, sorry, information on how to go from nothing to knowing almost as much as I know without operating, and being able to like not know anything about the business at all and straight up be able to launch based off of this information, then just go check out the course. And that is the link for it, callcentercast.com/join the tribe. 25% off right now. So keep that in mind. Somebody asked me a few weeks ago when I, came back to doing these, and they were like, "Yo, can you give a discount?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm back for 25% off. It's automatically sort of put in already if you go to that link, but it's limited. At the end of this week, I'm ending that discount, so 25% off the course. Um, I'm back at the coupon code. If for some reason it doesn't come up, but I'll save you some money. Um, so yeah. So again, I've got this time. I'm going to be doing the student call for paid students in about 15 minutes. So I'll take about one more question if anyone's got it, and then I will see you guys next week. I didn't answer my own question, which is what are the differences between U.S. and international agent? I feel like the people here should understand it, but for anyone that's watching this on replay, um, the main difference between international and US is nothing, except that usually for the same amount of money, you're getting let's just say, a higher caliber agent. There's going to be some differences, obviously, culturally that need to be understood. And sometimes you're going to have someone that has an asset. But of course, uh, whether your people that work for you have an asset or not is based off of who you say that's the hiring, right? But I'll tell you right now, if you're willing to spend $15 an hour for a US based person and you spend that same amount for someone outside of US, you're going to get some extremely high quality people if they're in non Western markets. So I guess we'll call them third world countries. Um, so, keep that in mind. Uh, I've been building some fantastic team for Vandu Virtual and my 2 other call centers that are launching. One's already launched. So yeah, let me answer my own question. I think international is better overall. Um, you just got to figure out how to pay them, which is that's not very difficult, but it's not the same as just sending out a paycheck. Okay. 3 more minutes. Any other questions at all? And I apologize for the light in here. I'm gonna try to improve it next week. It feels like the camera is a little blurry, so I'll see if I can fix that next week. Any final questions? And again, with the course itself, it is 30 days to decide if you want to hold on to it. So keep that in mind. Okay. Um, Nectar Act, have I ever hired people from Mexico or Latin America? Uh, Ever? Yes. For the call center, no, but I'm gonna be doing it soon. But the tutors I just hired are both Latin American. One's in Mexico and one's in Colombia, so I'm excited about that. Um, so yeah, but I've also worked with like one of actually for my course for a while I had a sales guy that like I ran webinars was they were just like online presentation and I had a sales guy that I would book calls to and he was in Mexico. He was pretty awesome actually. Oh, Peter, that would be fantastic. Would be great to have you. And Peter, send me an email. But yeah, other than that, hope you guys are good. Um, but yeah, I mean, no question, just fantastic talent. And a lot of our students actually have been working with a lot of people in Latin America and Mexico to I haven't heard one of them complain about it at all. I've heard about people complaining in other areas. They have not. I seriously haven't had anyone complain about Latin America or Mexican call center workers. So it's just a matter of having the right setup and making sure that your agents are able to work. Um, they have the tools and the facility to be able to work as well they want to be able to work, you know, with a good enough internet connection, stability, and all that. And that's the thing in a lot of places, right? I'm hiring in Zimbabwe right now, and we have to have the facilities and internet and laptop and everything set up for them. We have to buy that. One thing in the U.S. is that you can expect. I mean, 80% of people that are gonna be even applying have internet at home and their own laptop, and they usually have some type of situation. Eastern Europe, that's usually the case too. They have their own situation. In Africa, they don't. Uh, Latin America, I'm not too sure, but I think it's somewhere in the middle. So anyway, 7:20 now, Central Time. Appreciate you guys. I will be on next week. Um, yeah, I will be on next week, and I appreciate you all. Have a good one, guys. If you're watching the replay of this, thank you for watching as well.